Hey YouTube. Well, here a couple of days ago I was talking about that we have a massive blob of 3 to 7 Fahrenheit degrees above normal in the upper, or maybe more precisely the northeastern Pacific Ocean. And this is a blob of hot water which is surface bound, and it's 1,000 miles wide, or 1,600 kilometers wide, and 300 feet or 100 meters deep. It's a blob of just warm water, and you're watching the majority of this blob here, but it is also extending all the way down on the west coast. And by looking at that, I was looking at the global wind maps. And let me take the jet stream first. Here we see, in this region here, this is where the blob region is. We have Alaska here, we have the Bering Sea here. So by looking at that, we see that there is a lack of representation of a jet stream. The jet stream you are watching here, which is actually broken in two, is actually broken in three. This is the jet stream combined, and as you see here, the jet stream is now in three sections, driving in three sections. It's breaking up, but it's reassembled again and picking up speed. By looking at this map, what point stand out to me is that we have a vacuum of lack of wind in this region. This we are talking about the stratosphere's wind. That means up in the altitude of the jet stream. And we see that there is a breakage here, which I, without being an expert or pretending to be an expert, are actually concluding that we have a vacuum going on here. We have warm air being sucked in, and this one is the surface winds that I want to show you shortly here. You see, oh, that was a little too close, so let that one read up again. That was way too close, sorry about that. Let's go back to the other one. So here we are having a suction effect and a breakage and a continuation of a jet stream which is running straight down and giving these high northern ice cold winds down through the North American continent. And I assume that those people living in North America have noticed that the wind predominantly is coming from the northwest, not from the west anymore. And that is driving some very cold weather, and when that collides, as I said many times, when it collides with the subtropical or the tropical jet stream, we will have this insane weather patterns going on in the United States of America. And we are seeing some of that lately. But I want to concentrate right here on this area, that there is a suction effect here by this breakage of the jet stream. The wind pattern here is very low speed. Let me click on it and we will have a reading down here what the speed is. It will show up here shortly. It will only be 80 kilometers an hour. Well, how much is that? That is around 45 miles per hour, something like that. But if you look at the region here, now that my mouse disappeared, where did it go? Right there, where we have purple colors. Here we have a very high speed going on, 197 kilometers per hour, which would be around, I don't know, that would be 120 miles per hour wind speed. So there is a significant difference between that speed and that speed. And what I say is it's creating a vacuum. Hey, you two, stop it. And it's sucking in warm air in the lower atmosphere into this region and heating it up. So what is causing that? Well, right here in this area in Alaska we have something called HAARP, and I am very convinced that HAARP play a significant role in this. And we did not get a zoom out from this region. This is the surface winds, and you can see how much in turmoil they are. And now it's reading. Okay, maybe I'm lucky next time I go back to it. So by splitting up the jet stream in 3 different segments, it's creating some vacuum pools, and we are seeing a vacuum pool going on right there. There's a suction of, hey you two, you stop now. No more, lay down, behave. Sucking up hot moist air from the Central America region, and that is what is driving this crazy weather we are having this spring. And what I have noticed over on the northeast side of America is that spring is not even there yet. I have last week when I was driving through Pennsylvania, it was freaking snowing, okay? Snowing. Snow fell on the ground and accumulated. That's insane. We are almost riding May month of May 2015, and the trees should be in bloom in that region, but they are not, because they're being dumped cold air straight down on it, as you see right here. So spring have a very hard time getting a grip, and spring also have a hard time getting a grip in the Californian region, because of constant and bombardment of cold air coming. And that cold air is actually coming southward and going north on the continent, but it's still sucking in hot air and make an accumulation of hot air. And that hot air is of course on that was a little better, it's still loading. It's accumulating hot air and moist air in this region all the way down, and it's accumulating in pockets, as we are seeing in this picture here. We got 3 pockets residing at that region. It would like to shift now. That would be nice. You see, here's one. This is the significant one. This is above the polar circle, and we are having way hot weather there. And along here too, we have an accumulation, and we have an accumulation here. So there's 3 pockets of above normal sea temperatures, and that is of course giving a lot of clouds, and these clouds colliding with the cold air is producing heavy precipitation and high winds, and this one is still loading. So in this region here, and in this region here, and in this region down here, we have pockets of very hot moist air, and also surface temperatures, and it's also contributing to the heavy drought that California is now experiencing, also due to a massive chemtrailing in this region here too, and with the help of HAARP exciting the aluminum, the barium, and other metals that they are spraying heavily out here on the northwest part of United States of America, is burying and preventing California from getting normal precipitation, and that is causing the massive drought. And HAARP in this instance is able to excite these metals in the atmosphere, heating up the atmosphere and actually drying out the moist, driving it away, and actually driving it further down and dropping it, as an example, on Texas, Oklahoma at this moment. It is severe rain we have had in those regions, and also Louisiana has been hit, and now I'm getting some ridiculous up here, which just stop doing that. So you're seeing that there is a suction effect here, sucking in, and it actually fits very well with the map that you're watching. Look here, we got a pocket here, that's the Bering Sea. We got a pocket here, it's below Alaska, and we got a pocket here. So if we go back to the map, which is presented, we have the equivalent pockets of what do you call it, or what would I call it, lack of jet stream effect. Pay close attention to where the pockets are: Mexico, Gulf of Alaska, and Bering Sea. And now we're going back again. there, the Bering Sea, the Gulf of Alaska, and Mexico. So it fits. There is no wind here. The wind are very low here. The wind speeds are very low, and that causes the air to stand still. And when we don't have high wind or lack of wind, we have a very low what do you call it, evaporation of water, creation of clouds. And as you see here, there's a very high lack of wind here. There is a lack of wind here. There's a pocket. And here again, this is the surface wind. It's finally done. And you can see the surface wind. This is the most concentrated area of wind, right there in that area. And let's have a reading down here in a second. 65 kilometers per hour wind speeds, which is driving around in a circle and encapsulating this hot, moist air, which is heating up the surface temperatures all the way down to a 300 feet depth. That is significant. That is a lot of water being heated up. And we see that in the Gulf of Alaska too, and we also see that over here by Mexico. You see a complete lack of wind. There isn't any. And that is consistent with the jet stream pattern as you're watching here. It's fitting perfectly. Right there, and right there. There is no wind, but an accumulation of heat. This heat is not being dispersed because we have a fractal jet stream. It is in three pieces. You see one piece here, and you see one piece here, and they are converging, and then they are breaking up, but yet continuing. So here, I believe that HAARP or other facilities we might not know about, but this one is mostly the cause of this problem. That is, it is steering and breaking up and creating these plumes of heat. We are also seeing it up here. And recently, Siberia, now here in the springtime, got hit by a sudden storm while people were out bathing in a lake. I don't know if you've seen that video, but they suddenly got pummeled by hails out of nowhere. It just came out of nowhere. But what is driving this kind of weather? Well, as you see over here, we got cold air right here. This is Siberia. And we got hot air up here. We got standstill. We got a plume of hot air here, and that is accumulating and colliding with each other and driving insane weather patterns in Siberia. And they're experiencing something extraordinary in these days. Last year, in the middle of the winter, they experienced temperatures of 45 Celsius, and everybody went out in shorts and t-shirts because they freaking thought it was summer. That was that hot to them. For normally they are on permafrost, but they experienced springtime temperatures all of a sudden, out of nowhere, which is also contributing to the large methane release, which is buried in the permafrost, especially in Siberia. So we are having a vacuum sitting here, accumulating hot air, heating up the ocean temperature. We have a breakage and a suction effect from these two wind patterns. They are driving this way, but they are making a suction effect. They are sucking the air with it and into these two regions. And as you see it here on the surface temperature, surface winds, this is the jet streams. And you see it here again. You see there's a line going up. You see there is a line going up. You see here that we have pockets, and this is being accumulated. It's driving around the same areas, circular around the areas, and it prevents the heat to escape. They're accumulating it. And that is what is driving this insane spring weather we are getting, and I believe it ties to JADE HELM 15. I also believe that it ties to CERN. I also believe it ties to creating an artificial earthquake like they did in Nepal, the latest earthquake over in Himalaya. And I believe that is a precursor to a coming San Andreas earthquake. So they know what they're doing, and they're definitely intending to create another scenario, which would be a man-made disaster, which will make it more probable for them to come and make a martial law than instead of inciting riots, because they know that fight they will lose a civil war. God bless you.